right. My name is Moses B. Colley. I'm a farmer in Liberia and a graduate from the University College of Agriculture and Forestry. I've been working in the agriculture sector of this country for 10-15 years. Yeah, so when it comes to farming, more especially in the area of livestock and crop production, yes. So, how has farming changed your lifetime? Farming has changed my lifetime because I grew up in the farming land. I was born in the village. I grew up in the farming land. The farming supported me in school. And today we realize that farming is a bedrock of this nation, Liberia, and 85% of the population getting their support from farming into this land. And we believe that nothing we can do with our farming in Liberia because government does not help everybody. So, but farming really became a problem after the Civil War. Farming became a major problem after the Civil War. Before the Civil War, we had a lot of livestock. We were producing our own food. We had sufficient food in Liberia, locally produced food in Liberia. But after the Civil War, we realized all of the young people in the village migrated for greener pasture. We call that a capital flight. They all left the rural areas, coming downtown to look for jobs. So the farming population in the rural areas have dramatically reduced. And this is the reason why today you have the foreign food that have invaded the country. The staple food for us in Liberia is rice. Second staple food is cassava, but you realize locally produced rice cannot sustain us. This is the reason why you see foreign rice has not dominated the market. All because the young men and women who were to engage into farming are all in Monrovia and are looking for greener pasture. So today you see farming as a business in Liberia, more especially when we talk about family farming, is much difficult. It's a problem, a serious problem. Yes. So help us understand your farming business. Tell us about your operation and how it runs. What I do as a farmer, more especially like I said in the area of those things I said, I'm in the business of livestock training, advocacy, and crop production. So on my own farm, what I do is to use my farm as a demonstration site for local farmers to learn and replicate the idea into their various farms. So this is what I do. And just using manual hands, manual labor does not really permit us as farmers in Liberia to get what we want because we are still using those rudimentary tools like cutlasses and hoes. Does not really help us. But whatever the case is, we produce and sell. Challenges. Yeah. Yes. The normal business model of farming in Liberia is changing. It's really changing because before them, the College of Agriculture and Forestry had limited people. But after the war and some of us got into the college, we tried to introduce the awareness where we told people that agriculture is not from hand to mouth. Agriculture is a business. Agriculture can change your life. Agriculture can develop the nation. So the college is populated and you see more young people are coming out of the college to practice. But then again, the challenge is what? Capital. Agriculture has three pillars. You have capital, you have labor, you have land. And Liberia land tenure system is one of the greatest challenges we have. In the face of where you have so many foreign investors taking huge amount of land, so local farmers are being evacuated from their own land. Local citizens are being evacuated from their own land. So today, you realize that the way of farming is changing based on these challenges we have. Okay? Beside companies, you don't see typical Liberian. Few of them have large farm because they have money. So those who are just graduating from the university don't have money to establish the farm of their own choice. Okay, so the model of farming is changing because companies are taking over, foreigners are taking over, citizens are not getting. So you see, if you see a plantation that is owned by a foreigner, like Firestone, like Golden Verolium, like Equatorial Oil Palm, like Saint Darby, but a local farmer, maybe the highest land area is 1 or 2 acres or maybe a hectare maximum. Yes. Well, if you want to compare the farm system in Liberia with that of other systems around the world, you will get to know that Liberia is far behind because merchandise farming is not introduced in Liberia. Yes, where people use tractors, where people use power tillers, we don't have that in Liberia. So tell me, if you are using power tillers, you are using a tractor, where one man can work a day, you expect maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes to work within a day. All right? So we cannot even compare that. Yes, we cannot compare that. And that's the reason why we are still importing food that we should have been producing here. So system that is being used or introduced in the developed country, if we can have that system put into place, we're able to feed ourselves. Yes, so we cannot even compare. Liberia is far behind. Yes, Liberia is really, really, really far behind. So if I could tell the public anything, what would it be? The only thing I will have to say here is if we have to really fight to feed the world population, more especially coming down to Liberia, the population of 4 million plus, we have to introduce, we have to make sure that merchandise farming is put into place, that technology is shared across the borders. But besides that, some countries will have more and some countries will have less. And the country that have less will live at the detriment of the country that have more, because he who feeds you controls you. Oh yes, that is obvious. He who feeds you controls you. If I'm able to feed myself, you will not control me. Tell me to do something I feel is good, I do it. If I feel it's not good, you're not feeding me anyway, I will not do it. So if technology is shared across the borders, is shared equally, then countries will be able to produce to feed their citizens. All right, but without that, other countries will be marginalized. Other countries will have to look for other countries for handout and support. Said if there is no donation, if there is no NGO, if there is no other help from other developed countries, poorer countries will remain poor. But if you teach them technology, if you introduce merchandise farming, they have the strength to produce on their own. People who are engaged into agriculture don't necessarily have to be in fact, they are not poor people because they feed the world. They have to say, look, we hold our feet or we hold our food until we see this policy pass. We will not produce food, we will not serve the people. All right? But if they don't produce, they live at the mercy of other people. So this is what I have to tell the world. If they think you want to deal with equal justice, provide equal training, provide equal opportunity, it's not just by saying, it's by doing. All right, it's by doing. You have money out there, and you want for people in developing country to get on their feet. It's better to train somebody how to fish than to feed you with fish, because the day you are not there, you will not know how to fish. So train me how to produce. I'll produce for myself, but don't get me used to hand out. Dependency syndrome is dragging the world down to the dungeon. Let us share the knowledge we have across the world. That will be better for us. So we'll talk about how have big corporations affected your day-to-day life. This is a big question. I told you initially that I'm into livestock. Today, local farmers, local livestock farmers in Liberia are no longer getting profit or benefit from the livestock because of this huge importation of deep frozen meat. You have the spare rib, you have the chicken part, you have the pork that have flooded the market until the local farmers have now dragged at the backyard. They no longer access their own market. That is one. Let us look at, and those countries who are doing that, we know them. Germany is one. I was called to attend a global congress in Germany. I carried two problems: land grabbing and dumping. This importation of deep frozen meat in Liberia is dumping, is prohibited. It's injury, it's dumping according to our World Trade Organization policy. Okay, so that is just about livestock. It has a very great and negative impact on our operations in Liberia. It's affecting our day-to-day lives. And you have Europe, you have America, you have Asia. We know countries and importing chicken wing like Italy, they are doing that. Like Holland, pig feed, they are doing that. Most of them, they are doing that. Let's talk about local feed, local rice. You have Thailand, you have India, and other countries. These are world players when it comes to are selling rice on the world market. Today we have all types of varieties of rice on our market. It's hampering our day-to-day life activities in Liberia because local farmers no longer used to eating our local rice. In the village, they are eating our parboiled rice. And sometimes some rice you go and don't you chew, it's like you are chewing gum. Yes, all because it's been so. It's so frustrating. So corporations, big corporations, they are getting us drive away from our methods of producing. They are getting us drive away from our way of living. Let us look at Monsanto. Monsanto is one of the greatest US companies. But the idea of Monsanto is to get rid of what the indigenous seeds and bring in their method of hybrid seeds, genetically modified seeds. And the seeds, you can only have F1, F2 is not correct. When they give you the seed today, you plant the next time, you cannot plant the seeds after the first harvest. That seeds will never work. Right? So that is also affecting us in Africa, more especially in Liberia. So gradually you will realize that when all of our indigenous seeds are wiped out, the whole world will have to depend on Monsanto. And now they will control the world, which of course is not fair to human existence. It's not correct. If they can produce a seed that can give an aroma that has a tendency of driving out insect, what's the difference between human being and insect? There are some things we have in common. Insect is inhaling and exhaling. We inhale and exhale too. You breathe. Insect is breathing. So the probability of that crop destroying the insect is tantamount to destroying you too. So it affects our day-to-day activity. And there's no doubt today around the world you see the problem of obesity. It's because of these things they produce into the world. It's because of these genetic modifications they are doing. It's destroying the human race on Earth. So corporations affecting our day-to-day activity. There are so many corporations that are affecting our day-to-day activity. Let us come down to Liberia. These huge companies like Golden Veronium, they have evicted thousands of people from their own local land. And those people are not just seizing their land, grabbing their land. The people are used as slaves in the land. So you cannot make cassava to sell to be independent today. You have to work for them. If you don't work for them, you can't get food to eat because your family is taking, your children will not go to school. You're working for them, you get sick, they put you down without incentive. So it has an impact on our day-to-day activities. So that's the end of the question. So far, so good. Business in Liberia is fine because at least you can sell to get 5 cents. But it's not fine because it's giving you what you want. You only do business in Liberia to eat and survive for a day. But it's not a sustainable business. Sustainable business, the business you do, it does not give you any form to add more to your farm. Or because a man, wife and his 2 children use cutlasses, use scratching holes, and just do 1 acre or maybe 1.5 acre. And before you finish harvesting, before the next season, the hunger is back.